Let me ask you a question about business and businesses. And specifically, there's a company called Roblox. They make video games. My children play these video games. And it's one of the few companies in the US that has maintained allowing those video games to be played in Russia. The CEO of Roblox said that he believed it was important to enable people around the world to stay connected. And I think that part of his thought process, which I'm not here to defend, but I'm very curious what you think, is the idea of keeping some form of a link at all to Russia, not to Russia, the country, but to the people. I'm curious what your perspective is on that.
Look, no matter what I think, those who want to maintain those connections, they will continue to maintain those connections. What I can say is how it is. If we want to make an impact on any aggression, Russia today is the brightest case in point of aggression. We have to demonstrate our joint shared attitude. And in Russia, they are the ones who choose their leaders, the people of Russia. They choose those politicians more than me or you or anyone else in the world. The biggest impact on the Russian President Putin is from the people of Russia. If the connections with other countries continue, if business relations continue, then the people of Russia will feel no discomfort. And for them, all this story about what's happening on the territory of Ukraine will remain some kind of what they call special operation, but not a war which takes away human lives. This is my opinion.
President, I also wanted to ask you about SpaceX and specifically actually Starlink, because that company's CEO, who you know and I think you follow on Twitter, Elon Musk, took to Twitter and he said, Ukraine-Russia peace, redo elections of annexed regions under UN supervision. Russia leaves it that way to the will of the people. Crimea, formerly part of Russia, as it's been since 1783, he says, water supply to Crimea assured, Ukraine remains neutral. This, he says, is highly likely to be the outcome in the end, just a question of how many die before then. This is somebody who has helped you in certain ways, but I believe you're on the other side of this, of what he said. What do you think?
Looks like we lost the connection. Recording stopped.
Maybe Elon ended the interview. You know, I don't know if they're using Starlink to connect us. Obviously, we're having a minor technical difficulty. I'm told in my little ear that they are trying to get him back and trying to reconnect. So if you would indulge me for just a moment, we're going to try to do that. While we do that, actually, because I don't know how long it's going to take, let me just do this. And we used to do this at this conference many, many years ago. Oh, goodness, we actually are back, so we're not going to even do what I was about to do. Mr. President, can you hear me?
I think, yes, I hear you. Most important is Mr. Musk will hear us. And he did help to restore our communication. We are thankful to him. What can I say in answer to your question? From the beginning of the full-scale invasion of Russia, indeed, we had that communication, and personally, I had a line with Elon Musk. What we have lost in this society that got occupied, owing to the internet and the communication, life was maintained, monies were paid, salaries, pensions, money orders, everything. This is very important because at some point Putin, and it seems that Elon began to change his opinion, and we began to hear all kinds of appeals. I don't know if somebody is making an influence on him or he is making those choices himself. I always say very openly, if you want to understand what Russia has done here, come to Ukraine and you will see this with your own eyes, without any extra words. And after that, you will tell us how to end this war, who started it, and when we can end it.
I want to open up for questions in just a moment. I think that David Miliband and a couple of others that are involved and have been very engaged in this are here, so maybe we can try to get to them. If you have your hand, if you could just raise your hand, we're going to see if we can get to you, and we only have about 5 minutes. But let me ask you about the possibility and the risk of nuclear war. How much is that something you're concerned about? I was speaking with Alex Karp from Palantir, who's visited with you in Ukraine, and it's something he publicly talks about all the time. He thinks a mistake can be made.
I
think a decision of President Putin is not that what he wants to do, but he does something else because he is mistaken. Likewise, we defend ourselves not because we are mistaken. We know what we are doing. I think Putin's aggression was totally forecasted, foreseen. He simply wants to seize Ukraine and primitively destroy our people and fully govern this territory. But we are standing against it and defending ourselves. Can he use nuclear weapons in this course? I cannot tell you, because I think he does not fully control everything, all the processes that are happening in his military.
What do you mean by
Some
that?
people came in and he said he didn't know anything about it. Some people moved in and began to shoot at civilians. He says, that's not my military, it's some people in disguise. It all started with seizure of Crimea, and he kept saying, no, those are not my people. And then in the end, he said, those are my people. So whether he's going to use nuclear weapons or not, it fully does not depend on what we discuss here with you. He may use nuclear weapons at other territories as well. We should not be afraid of this, I think. What we should be afraid of is if Putin takes complete advantage and we give him territory, he'll come into taste of that and he will realize that he goes unpunished. We need to put him back in his place. Again, he is very dependent on the people of Russia, and he wants to remain alive. So I don't think he is going to use nuclear weapons. This is my opinion. But again, I'm saying it's a question of how adequate this person is. And I cannot be responsible for how adequate the president of Russia is.
Mr. President, we have a couple questions in the room. I want to try to get to you very quickly, and I think there's a microphone up here that's getting to somebody. Go ahead.
Hi, President Zelensky. My name is Olga Yurievna Litvinenko. I am the president and founder of USA for Ukraine, and we're in partnership with the Global Empowerment Mission. I just left Ukraine a little over a month ago, and as a result of the kamikaze drones, it became a little too unsafe to be there. So I want to relay on everything you're saying in the unsafety and everything that's happening in Ukraine. And, you know, if you really want to know what's going on, talk to somebody who's there or visit. But my main question to you is, every time I come back to America, I keep getting asked, what can the private organizations and private businesses do to help Ukraine? They turn to a variety of organizations and they donate money and they try to see how they can donate goods. But what do you need, and in your opinion, what is the best way to truly get exactly what Ukraine needs?
Thank you for your question, Olga. I'm sure you know better than me, or not as good as me, what Ukraine needs most of all. I think the best way is to speak to the platform United 24, run by Ukraine, the Ukrainian government, and that explains what donations are really requested. They work on such areas as infrastructure, medical sphere, energy, and the military. On any of those directions, one can provide help in one or another project.
Mr. President, I know we are out of time, and I want to thank you on behalf of everybody in this room and behalf of the United States and everybody. Please stay safe. We very much appreciate you joining us this morning here in New York, and good luck. Thank you.